Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gone Legends. In today's video, we remember 7 beloved figures who left us recently. Artists, actors, and creators whose lives changed entertainment forever. Before we begin, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Now, let's celebrate their remarkable stories.
Richard Roundtree, the trailblazing actor who brought Shaft to life, was more than just a movie hero. He was a revolution. Born on July 9, 1942, in New Rochelle, New York, Roundtree began his career as a model before stepping into the world of acting, where he would make history. In 1971, he burst onto the screen as John Shaft, the cool, fearless private detective who changed everything about how black men were portrayed in Hollywood. With his leather jacket, his swagger, and his iconic theme song, "They Say This Cat Shaft Is a Bad Mother," Roundtree became an instant symbol of power, pride, and independence. At a time when representation was limited and stereotypes were rampant, Richard Roundtree's Shaft was a breakthrough. He showed audiences, both black and white, a new kind of hero, confident, intelligent, unapologetically bold. The film's success launched the blaxploitation era, but Roundtree's charisma and depth transcended genre. He wasn't just an action star, he was a cultural icon who gave voice and visibility to a generation demanding respect. Throughout the decades that followed, Roundtree continued to build a rich and varied career. He appeared in television and film, taking on roles in Roots, City Heat, Say 7N, and the Shaft reboots alongside Samuel L. Jackson. His performances were always marked by quiet strength and undeniable presence. Even as new generations discovered him, he remained the blueprint for cinematic cool. Off-screen, Roundtree was a mentor and a role model. He spoke openly about his battle with cancer, using his platform to raise awareness and encourage others to face their struggles with courage. Friends and colleagues often described him as gracious, grounded, and deeply passionate about uplifting younger black actors trying to break into the industry. Richard Roundtree passed away at the age of 83, leaving behind a legacy that forever changed Hollywood. He didn't just play a hero, he became one. His portrayal of John Shaft redefined masculinity, power, and pride for black audiences and inspired countless performers who followed in his footsteps. Richard Roundtree will always be remembered as a man who brought style, confidence, and dignity to the screen, proving once and for all that true cool never fades. Mary Steenburgen, the Oscar-winning actress and acclaimed singer-songwriter, passed away peacefully at the age of 72 after a brief illness. Known for her warmth, wit, and luminous presence on screen, Mary left behind a legacy that continues to touch the hearts of audiences around the world. Born on February 8, 1953, in Newport, Arkansas, Mary grew up with a deep love for storytelling and the arts. After studying at Hendrix College, she moved to New York City, where she was discovered by Jack Nicholson and soon made her film debut. Her natural charm and authenticity quickly set her apart in Hollywood, a performer who could make audiences laugh, cry, and reflect, often all within a single scene. In 1980, Mary delivered the performance of a lifetime in Melvin and Howard, a role that earned her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Critics praised her for her emotional honesty and effortless realism, qualities that would define her long career. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Mary became a familiar and beloved face in film and television. She brought warmth and depth to her roles in Parenthood, Cross Creek, Back to the Future Part 3, and Philadelphia. And in later years, she delighted new generations with her comedic brilliance in Elf and Step Brothers, showing that her humor and heart were timeless. But Mary Steenburgen's artistry extended far beyond acting. In her later years, she discovered a new passion, songwriting. After recovering from a minor surgery, she began hearing melodies in her mind and felt compelled to write them down. That moment marked the beginning of a second creative journey. She went on to co-write songs recorded by major country artists and contributed music to films and TV projects. Her gift for storytelling flowed seamlessly from the screen into song. Off-screen, Mary was known for her kindness, humility, and deep compassion. She was devoted to her husband, actor Ted Danson, and together they became one of Hollywood's most admired couples, admired not only for their love, but for their shared values of grace, humor, and humanity. On October 10, 2025, Mary Steenburgen passed away after a short illness, leaving behind a life defined by creativity, generosity, and light. Her legacy continues through her films, her music, and the love she gave so freely. Mary Steenburgen reminded the world that true beauty lies not just in talent, but in heart, and her heart will forever be felt in every note, every performance, and every smile she brought to the screen. Loretta Lynn, known to the world as the Queen of Country Music, passed away peacefully at the age of 93. Her story is one of the most inspiring in American music, a journey from poverty to legend, built on hard work, honesty, and an unshakable spirit. Born on April 14, 1932, in a tiny cabin in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, Loretta was one of 8 children in a coal miner's family. Life was tough, but from those humble beginnings came a voice that would speak for millions. She married young, became a mother by her teens, and lived the struggles she later sang about, struggles of love, hardship, pride, and survival. In the 1960s, Loretta Lynn burst onto the Nashville scene with her raw, honest songwriting. Songs like Coal Miner's Daughter, You Ain't Woman Enough, To Take My Man, and Don't Come Home A Drinkin', With Lovin' on Your Mind, captured the real stories of working-class women. At a time when country music often avoided such topics, Loretta spoke truth with courage and humor. Her music wasn't just popular, it was revolutionary. She wrote about marriage, motherhood, infidelity, and independence with a fearlessness that broke barriers for women in the industry. With each hit, she reminded the world that country music could tell the stories of everyday people, especially women whose voices were rarely heard. Over her 6-decade career, Loretta released more than 60 albums, earned multiple Grammy Awards, and was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1988. Her life was even immortalized in the Oscar-winning film Coal Miner's Daughter, which brought her story to millions more around the globe. Even into her later years, Loretta never stopped writing, performing, or inspiring. Her music carried the spirit of Appalachia, simple, strong, and deeply human. Loretta Lynn's passing marks the end of an era, but her songs will live forever. They continue to echo through country radio, small-town jukeboxes, and the hearts of all who find truth in her words. She was more than a singer, she was a storyteller, a pioneer, and the unshakable heart of country music. Her legacy is one of resilience, truth, and love, proof that even from the humblest beginnings, a single voice can rise to touch the entire world. Jimmy Buffett, the beloved singer, songwriter, and storyteller, passed away at the age of 78 after a long and courageous battle with illness. A true American original, Buffett wasn't just a musician, he was a lifestyle, a spirit of sunshine, and the voice of endless summer. Born on December 25, 1946, in Pascagoula, Mississippi, Buffett grew up near the Gulf Coast, where the ocean, sailboats, and the laid-back rhythms of island life would later define his music. In the early 1970s, he began performing in small bars across Florida, blending country, folk, and Caribbean sounds into something uniquely his own. That tropical style soon became known as Gulf and Western, and it would make him a legend. His breakthrough came with the 1977 hit Margaritaville, a song that became far more than a chart topper. It became a way of life. With its breezy melody and lyrics about escapism, warmth, and peace, it captured the dream of every person who ever wished to slow down and savor life's simple pleasures. The song grew into an empire, restaurants, resorts, and even retirement communities all inspired by his vision of paradise. But beyond the business success, Jimmy Buffett remained, at heart, a storyteller. His music celebrated ordinary people searching for joy, sailors, wanderers, dreamers, and those content with a drink in their hand and the sound of the waves nearby. Songs like Cheeseburger in Paradise, Come Monday, and Changes in Attitudes became anthems of positivity, friendship, and freedom. Even off stage, Buffett embodied the spirit he sang about, cheerful, generous, and endlessly curious. He was a pilot, an author, and a philanthropist who supported environmental conservation and disaster relief, often using his fame to make the world a kinder, lighter place. On September 1, 2025, Jimmy Buffett passed away peacefully, surrounded by family, music, and love. Fans around the world, affectionately known as parrotheads, mourned his loss, gathering in beaches and bars to celebrate his life with the same joy he gave them. Jimmy Buffett's legacy is eternal sunshine. He taught the world that happiness doesn't have to be complicated, that it can be found in laughter, good company, and a warm breeze on a summer afternoon. His music remains the soundtrack to carefree days and calm nights by the sea. He may have sailed beyond the horizon, but his spirit still dances in every wave, every smile, and every moment when we choose to live easy, laugh often, and treasure the simple joys of life. Donald Sutherland, one of cinema's most distinguished and versatile actors, passed away peacefully at the age of 90. Born on July 17, 1935, in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, he grew from humble beginnings into one of Hollywood's most respected and enduring talents. Sutherland's career spanned more than 6 decades, and during that time, he became a master of transformation. He was known for bringing quiet intelligence, emotional depth, and a touch of mystery to every role he played. His performances were never loud, they were layered, deliberate, and deeply human. He first gained international attention in the 1970 war comedy M*A*S*H, where his portrayal of the witty surgeon, Hawkeye Pierce, captured audiences with equal parts humor and heart. From there, he proved his incredible range, terrifying audiences in the psychological thriller Don't Look Now, 1973, and moving them to tears in Ordinary People, 1980, where he delivered one of the most understated and powerful performances of his career. In later years, Donald Sutherland reached a new generation of fans with his commanding role as President Snow in the Hunger Games film series. Even in his later years, his ability to embody both warmth and menace, empathy and intellect, never faded. He could play a ruthless leader, a broken father, or a tragic hero, and make each of them unforgettable. Throughout his lifetime, Sutherland appeared in more than 150 films and television projects, working alongside some of the greatest directors in history. He received an honorary Academy Award in 2017 for his contributions to film, a long overdue recognition for an artist who had spent a lifetime perfecting his craft. Behind the camera, he was known for his humility, curiosity, and love of storytelling. Those who worked with him described him as thoughtful, generous, and fiercely intelligent, a true actor's actor. Donald Sutherland's legacy continues through his extraordinary body of work and through his son, Kiefer Sutherland, who followed in his father's footsteps and became a celebrated actor in his own right. Together, they represent a remarkable cinematic lineage that has influenced generations of performers. Though Donald Sutherland is no longer with us, his artistry remains immortal. His performances, whether tender, terrifying, or quietly profound, will continue to inspire those who love the power of great storytelling. Donald Sutherland will forever be remembered as a man of depth, grace, and integrity, a legend whose every role left an indelible mark on the history of cinema. Carl Weathers, the actor, athlete, and icon of determination, was born on January 14, 1948, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Before he ever stepped in front of a camera, he was a gifted athlete, strong, disciplined, and fiercely competitive. Weathers played college football at San Diego State University and later joined the NFL's Oakland Raiders, where his drive and leadership shone just as brightly as it would in his acting career. But it was in Hollywood where Carl Weathers truly found his destiny. In 1976, he stepped into the boxing ring of film history as Apollo Creed in Rocky, alongside Sylvester Stallone. With a mix of charm, power, and unshakable confidence, Weathers brought the character to life as more than just an opponent. He became the embodiment of ambition, pride, and respect. His performance gave Rocky its beating heart, transforming a boxing movie into a timeless story about friendship, rivalry, and perseverance. Over the next decades, Carl Weathers continued to prove his versatility and magnetic presence. He starred in the sci-fi classic Predator alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, showing both his physical strength and his commanding screen presence. He brought humor and warmth to Happy Gilmore, and decades later, found new generations of fans through his memorable role as Greef Karga in The Mandalorian, a performance that blended wisdom, gravitas, and charm. Behind the scenes, Weathers was known for his kindness, professionalism, and mentorship. Friends and colleagues remembered him as a man who carried himself with dignity, a leader who inspired everyone he worked with. His dedication to his craft and his humility made him not only a legend on screen, but a beloved figure off it. On February 2, 2024, Carl Weathers passed away peacefully at the age of 77. His death marked the loss of a man who defined strength, not just in body, but in spirit. Carl Weathers inspired generations of fans and athletes alike. He showed the world that heroes aren't only those who win fights, but those who rise again after being knocked down. His powerful presence continues to live on in every underdog story, in every fighter who dares to stand back up, and in every dreamer who refuses to give up. He will forever be remembered as Apollo Creed, the fighter, the friend, the legend. Dame Angela Lansbury, one of the most enduring and beloved figures in entertainment history, passed away peacefully in her sleep at the remarkable age of 99. Her career, which spanned more than 8 decades, made her a living bridge between Hollywood's golden age and the modern era of television and theater. Born on October 16, 1925, in London, England, Angela Lansbury displayed artistic talent from a young age. After her family fled wartime Britain and moved to the United States, she found herself drawn to the world of film. Her debut in Gaslight, 1944, at just 19 years old earned her an Academy Award nomination, setting the tone for a lifetime of excellence. She followed it with another Oscar-nominated role in the picture of Dorian Gray, proving she was no ordinary newcomer. She was a natural-born performer. Over the years, Lansbury's artistry seemed limitless. On Broadway, she became a powerhouse, winning 5 Tony Awards for unforgettable performances in musicals like Mame, Gypsy, and Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. Each role revealed her extraordinary range, from comedic brilliance to emotional depth, captivating audiences across generations. But for millions around the world, she became best known as Jessica Fletcher, the quick-witted mystery novelist and amateur detective in the hit television series Murder, She Wrote. For 12 seasons, Lansbury carried the show with charm, intelligence, and warmth, earning multiple Emmy nominations and becoming a household name. Jessica Fletcher wasn't just a character. She was a cultural icon who proved that women could lead, think, and thrive at any age. Lansbury's voice also became part of countless childhoods. As the gentle and wise Mrs. Potts in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, she gave warmth and humanity to the animated world, delivering one of Disney's most timeless songs, Beauty and the Beast, with grace that still melts hearts today. What made Angela Lansbury extraordinary wasn't just her longevity, it was her humility, professionalism, and deep love for her craft. She never sought fame, she sought excellence. And in doing so, she earned something even rarer: universal admiration. Her passing marks the end of an era, but her influence endures. Angela Lansbury redefined what it means to have a lifelong career in entertainment, one rooted in talent, integrity, and grace. She will forever be remembered as a true legend who made the entire world her stage, a performer whose light continues to shine, long after the curtain has fallen. There are some stars who belong to one era, and then there are those rare few who define every era they live through. Kurt Russell is one of them. From the golden age of Disney to the gritty 80s of American cinema, from westerns to action, from comedy to sci-fi, Kurt Russell has done it all. He's the kind of actor who doesn't just play heroes, he is one, both on screen and off. He's lived a life filled with passion, purpose, and quiet strength. He's faced rejection, doubt, and heartbreak, but through it all, he's never lost the one thing that defines him most: authenticity. This is the story of Kurt Vogel Russell, born in 1951, a man who grew up in the shadow of the film industry, became one of its most respected figures and still stands tall today as one of the last true icons of classic Hollywood. Sunrise Over Mountain's early life, the boy who grew up in the movies. Kurt Russell was born on March 17, 1951, in Springfield, Massachusetts, into a family already deeply connected to show business. His father, Bing Russell, was an actor best known for his role in the hit Western series Bonanza. His mother, Louise Julia Crone Russell, was a professional dancer, graceful, creative, and devoted. From the beginning, it was clear that the entertainment world wasn't just Kurt's destiny, it was his environment. As a child, he was surrounded by scripts, sets, and stories. He would watch his father act, studying every gesture and emotion, unknowingly preparing for the life that awaited him. But behind the scenes, life wasn't always easy. The Russell family worked hard to stay afloat between acting gigs. Bing often took small roles to support his wife and 4 children. They weren't rich or glamorous, but they were close. And that closeness, that sense of loyalty and grit, would later become the backbone of Kurt's character. Performing arts: the Disney years, from child actor to rising star. At just 11 years old, Kurt Russell began his journey as a child actor, appearing in small television roles and guest spots. He had a natural ease in front of the camera, confident, curious, and mature beyond his years. His big break came when Walt Disney himself noticed his charm and cast him in The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes and The Barefoot Executive. Disney saw something special in Kurt, the same spark that audiences would fall in love with for decades to come. In fact, one of Walt Disney's final handwritten notes before he died included Kurt Russell's name. No one knows exactly what he meant, but for many, it symbolized that Disney believed Kurt would carry on the magic. Through the 1960s and 70s, Kurt became one of Disney's most recognizable young faces, wholesome, witty, and full of promise. But when his teenage years ended, the child star faced his first great challenge. How do you grow up in front of the world without losing yourself? Crossed swords, the struggle to be taken seriously. When the 1970s came, Kurt Russell found himself at a crossroads. Hollywood had changed. The new generation of actors, Pacino, De Niro, Nicholson, were grittier, more method-driven, and often came from theater backgrounds. Kurt, on the other hand, was seen as the Disney kid, charming, but too clean, too polished. He struggled to find roles that matched his depth. Casting agents overlooked him. Directors didn't take him seriously. But Kurt refused to give up. He trained, studied, and waited. He knew his time would come, and when it did, he would be ready. Movie camera: the turning point, Elvis, Escape, and stardom. The turning point came in 1979, when director John Carpenter cast Kurt as Elvis Presley in the TV biopic Elvis. It was a bold move, casting a former child star to play one of the most iconic figures in music history. But Kurt didn't just play Elvis, he became him. His performance was raw, emotional, and magnetic. Critics were stunned. Audiences were captivated. And Hollywood finally took notice. That performance marked the beginning of one of the most iconic actor-director partnerships in movie history, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter. Together, they would redefine American action cinema. Bomb: the 1980s, building a legend. The 1980s belonged to Kurt Russell. This was the decade that transformed him from an actor into a legend. In 1981, he starred in Escape from New York as the unforgettable anti-hero Snake Plissken, a cynical, one-eyed outlaw navigating a dystopian world. The film became a cult classic, and Snake became one of the most recognizable characters in movie history. Kurt followed that success with The Thing, 1982, a dark, atmospheric masterpiece where his performance as R.J. McCready showcased his intensity and quiet power. Though not initially a commercial success, the film is now regarded as one of the greatest sci-fi horror movies ever made. Then came Big Trouble in Little China, 1986, where Kurt displayed his comedic timing and larger-than-life charisma. And Overboard, 1987, where he starred opposite Goldie Hawn, a role that wouldn't just change his career, it would change his life. Red Heart, Love and Partnership, Goldie Hawn. Kurt Russell met Goldie Hawn in the 1960s on a movie set, But it wasn't until 1983's swing shift that sparks truly flew. They began dating, and what followed would become one of Hollywood's most enduring love stories. Through ups and downs, through fame and gossip, they remained devoted to each other, without ever marrying. Kurt once said, "For people like us, the marriage certificate wasn't what mattered. The relationship was." Together, they built a blended family filled with love and laughter, raising their children, including actor Wyatt Russell, away from Hollywood's chaos. While other celebrity relationships crumbled under pressure, Kurt and Goldie quietly proved that love doesn't need headlines to last. Shooting star Kurt Russell, the man who outlasted time. As the 1990s dawned, Hollywood began to change once again. The big, bombastic action heroes of the 80s were giving way to darker, more complex characters. And yet, somehow, Kurt Russell never faded. While others struggled to adapt, Kurt simply evolved. Quietly, naturally, and without fanfare. He didn't chase trends. He didn't reinvent himself for every decade. He stayed true to who he was, and the audience stayed with him. Movie camera: the 1990s, the veteran and the visionary. In the 1990s, Kurt continued to prove that his talent ran deeper than any single genre. He starred in the cult favorite Tango and Cash, 1989, alongside Sylvester Stallone, a buddy cop film that showed his comedic and action chops working side by side. Then came Backdraft, 1991, a story about firefighters, heroism, and family loyalty, themes that spoke directly to Kurt's own nature. His portrayal of Lieutenant Stephen McCaffrey was grounded, emotional, and selfless, a performance that resonated deeply with real-life firefighters and audiences alike. That same year, he stunned audiences again in Captain Ron, showing that humor, humility, and a touch of chaos could coexist perfectly in one performance. But perhaps his most underrated gem of the decade was Tombstone, 1993, where he embodied the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp. Opposite Val Kilmer's unforgettable Doc Holliday, Kurt delivered one of the most commanding performances of his career. His quiet power, his sense of justice, and his moral code turned Tombstone into an American classic. Even decades later, fans quote his lines, rewatch the film, and celebrate his stoic portrayal of a man who stood for truth in a corrupt world. Kurt wasn't just acting. He was carrying the spirit of the Old West, the kind of hero America had always admired. Broken Heart: the quiet challenges, sacrifice, and stillness. For all his strength, Kurt Russell's life wasn't without struggle. Unlike many stars, he never courted the spotlight off-screen. But behind that calm exterior were sacrifices, moments of doubt, and the quiet burdens of fame. He deliberately stepped away from certain roles and opportunities to prioritize his family. While other actors chased awards, Kurt chose balance. There were times when he was overlooked by Hollywood, not because he wasn't talented, but because he refused to play the game. He didn't attend every red carpet, didn't promote himself endlessly, and didn't chase social relevance. He once said, "I didn't come to Hollywood to be famous. I came here to work. And I work for the audience, not the critics." That quote, more than any other, defines him. He wasn't chasing immortality. He was simply doing the work, with humility, precision, and heart. Dove: a partnership of equals, Goldie and the family. While many Hollywood couples fell apart under the weight of fame, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn built something different, something sacred. They became symbols of what real love can look like in an industry obsessed with image. Through the years, they raised 4 children: Boston, Oliver, Kate, and Wyatt, instilling in them the same values that had kept their own relationship strong: honesty, laughter, and gratitude. Goldie once said of Kurt, "He's the most genuine man I've ever known. He's not performing when he's kind. It's just who he is." Their connection became more than romance. It was friendship, partnership, and mutual admiration. Even in their 70s, they appear together on red carpets with that same warmth, the quiet kind of love that doesn't need words. Glowing star: the later years, a Hollywood legend reborn. As the 2000s arrived, Kurt's career entered yet another remarkable phase. He became the kind of actor younger generations rediscovered, through iconic roles in modern films like Vanilla Sky, 2001, Death Proof, 2007, and The Hateful Eight, 2015. Directors like Quentin Tarantino and James Gunn sought him out not just for his legacy, but for his power, that unique blend of calm authority and rugged soul that only Kurt Russell could bring. In 2017, he appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, playing Ego the Living Planet, a cosmic god with a father's heart and a monster's ego. Even surrounded by special effects and digital worlds, Kurt commanded the screen through pure presence. He could say more with one look than most actors could with an entire monologue. That's what decades of honesty in acting does. It builds trust between artist and audience. And Kurt Russell never broke that trust. Speech balloon philosophy of a quiet legend. When asked why he never pursued fame as aggressively as some of his peers, Kurt once replied, "I'm not a movie star. I'm an actor. I've been both and I know the difference." To him, fame was never the goal, truth was. He approached each character with humility, discipline, and curiosity. He never faked emotion. He believed that storytelling was a sacred craft, a way of connecting people through shared experience. In an era of digital filters, fleeting fame, and viral trends, Kurt Russell remains the antithesis of all that, real, grounded, and timeless. Sun behind small cloud, where he stands today. Today, Kurt Russell is in his 70s, still strong, still sharp, still every bit the man audiences fell in love with decades ago. He continues to act occasionally, not out of necessity, but out of love for the craft. He spends most of his time with Goldie, their children and grandchildren, living quietly, far from the noise of Hollywood. They've become symbols of enduring love and integrity, a reminder that fame can fade, but legacy endures. Kurt Russell doesn't chase the spotlight anymore, because at this point, the light simply follows him. Dove, a respectful tribute, the last of the real ones. Kurt Russell's life is more than a Hollywood story. It's a testament to endurance, honesty, and timeless talent. He's one of the few actors who has grown up, grown older, and grown wiser in front of us, without ever losing himself. He has played heroes, rebels, outlaws, and lovers, but through every role, one truth shines through: Kurt Russell is, and always has been, real. He represents a kind of masculinity we rarely see anymore, strong yet gentle, tough yet kind, confident without arrogance. He doesn't need the validation of awards or the noise of fame. His legacy lives in the hearts of those who grew up watching him, and in the respect of every actor who came after him. So here's to Kurt Russell, the cowboy who never quit, the hero who never aged, and the man who never stopped being true to himself. A living legend, a symbol of integrity, and a reminder that sometimes the quietest stars shine the longest. If you enjoyed this tribute, please like this video, leave a comment honoring your favorite legend, and subscribe to Gone Legends for more weekly tributes. Thank you for watching, and may these icons rest in eternal peace.